What I want to talk about today is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It looks to me like a Fidel Castro revolution grab where the government just took a mortgage company, screwed over all the investors, and said, I want all their money from now on, which you say is the biggest theft in the history of the planet Earth.
It likely is the biggest theft in history. And whether the number is 80 billion or 130 billion, it's probably around $100 billion.
But they stole a golden goose.
Yeah.
So there is no final number. It's going to make billions this year.
Absolutely. And what happened was in the crash, they passed a law, Congress, the Housing and Economic Recovery Act, that basically said we had to give Fannie and Freddie some money, about 180 billion, but it was only designed as a temporary loan to get them back on their feet, and then they were going to continue operating. Well, internal administration, Obama administration officials and people at Treasury said, hey, why are we just going to take a 10% dividend from this money? Why don't we take all the profits? And that's what they ended up doing, and kept them and basically wiped out the shareholders who were, again, guys like you and I who might have had it in our 401ks or investment portfolios, but they kept all the money, which, again, even mob loan sharks will give you a 30% interest rate in VIG, but they're not going to say, and I want all the profits from the business.
Well, it was very clear that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were going to become very profitable. Right. So I bet a lot of us saw buy low, sell high, saw them at their bottom and poured a bunch of money in.
Including
and then Obama just severed it.
Yep. Including one of the best value investors out there, Bruce Berkowitz, bought a very large stake in it, knowing that, hey, I could read the numbers. They're going to return to profitability, make money. It's a great investment. And he got wiped out. And he's been shouting, to his credit from the rooftops that these companies were stolen by the government in violation of the law. It was an unlawful act. And now new documents have been released that the Obama administration invoked executive privilege on that show clearly that there were internal conversations where they knew they were going to return to profitability, and they came up with an alternative excuse to seize them, saying we had to protect shareholders and not shareholders, we had to protect the taxpayers. But then the documents make very clear they knew that wasn't the reason. The reason was they wanted to keep all the money. So,
well, it sounds like an obvious case of fraud because the way they sold it to the public was, I'm just going to loan these guys money, and then we'll be even after they pay it back, and that's what we do. We're a loan company. And then they did something completely different. They took it over permanently.
Yeah, and it's clear. The documents make clear that that's what they did. And not only that, so that's unlawful in itself, but then they testified under oath that that's not the reason they did it. They did it to protect taxpayers. So they lied under oath. They perjured themselves. It's clear perjury. It's not even a question. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody actually gets indicted or investigated for this. Again, we talked earlier, if it was a different administration and a different political bent, this would be front page of every newspaper, front page of every television show. And there would be, armed FBI SWAT teams descending now on, these people. Like they came after me for 30 grand.
Yeah, they literally came after you with a SWAT team.
That, I didn't take and again, was wrongfully prosecuted on, merited a SWAT team. But when you steal 100 billion, hey,
that's different.
Yeah.
Well, the media is so inept that I doubt this story will get legs, and it should get legs. Call me old-fashioned, but if there's evidence of the largest theft in the history of mankind, it should maybe garner a little bit of ink.